Did you start with one shelf?
Yeah, there was like 2,000 people there. So just
Yeah,
a
it was
little
a small
farming
town.
community.
Yeah.
So now what people know as
It's also showing your
Chaska
age.
is all the stuff that's like, yeah, right, exactly.
Where did that come in then? In that time frame of your life growing up?
I spent a lot of time in the woods, actually more fishing than at hunting at that point.
Okay. Tell me how you got into that piece and doing a lot of that country type stuff.
Well, a lot of these things shape who I am today as an agent. So I think this is all good,
it's very good
foundational
stuff. That's
stuff.
the whole point. Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Now, but 2-3 years of improving. Because if you would have tried that 3 years ago, you'd be like,
So I started in the music business as a disc jockey in 1992.
Tell me a little bit about your little stash here and how this all started.
Yeah, I can turn this light on too. That'll help bring a little bit in the corner
So
here.
how we became one of the largest whiskey bars in Lakeville, I would say.
LBC's got nothing on me, bro.
No, not at all. The 4th episode of The Unscripted Agent with my buddy.
What's up?
Partner in crime. What else we want to call each other?
Brothers in Christ.
Brothers in Christ. That's another good one.
But the crime thing's good too.
And slaying business.
That's right.
Together.
That's right.
Episode 4 of The Unscripted Agent. We are going to try some bourbons. I'm the bartender, even though he owns the joint. And the whole idea of The Unscripted Agent, many of you have seen before.
And you helped me pay for it.
I did. Hey, how about that? How about that?
Yeah, that's all this ain't free.
Pull back all the crap that's out there on social media. Get to know really good people in the industry, real estate agents that do a fantastic job. Like, I'd give you my family, right? Yeah, you.
Whoa.
Yeah, Shane Hall. And pull back, get to know Shane a little bit, talk some bourbon, talk more about him. It's all about him and where he came from and where he is now and where he's going. So as we were going through, you've seen, like I said, the biggest whiskey bar in Lakeville.
It's been a lot of years of collection, bro.
Close to it.
A lot of years of collecting.
So how many did you start with one shelf?
Yeah, so we had our house in Rosemount. My collection started with, I don't know, probably like 6 or 8 bottles, mostly Jack Daniel's stuff. I had a background in the music business.
Yeah. So that's good. Actually, let's start there. Where'd you grow up? Let's start there because I know, but
Chaska.
Most people don't know.
Yeah, small town Chaska.
It's unfortunate, but yeah. Chaska.
Well, I have to say, back then there was like 2,000 people there. It was just
a
little
small
farming
town.
community.
Yeah.
So now what people know as Chaska is all the stuff that's like, yeah, right, exactly. And I was living there when the world was black and white, bro.
Yeah, right. You had to stand up and go turn the channel?
Yeah, exactly. TV had 4 channels on it.
9, 4, 3 didn't come in.
No, exactly. Rabbit ears.
Yeah.
But what people know as Chaska now is like 212 and 41 and all the Uber commercial development that's up there. You know, the shopping, the dining, the big box store stuff that's up there. None of that was there when I was there.
Right.
Jonathan was there as a small community that was obviously neighbored to Chaska.
No, I don't even know what that is. That's
just like the little town, the real small town that's more west on the way to that north side of Chaska.
Right.
So that was there. But Chaska was mostly just lower Chaska down by the river, real small, tight community.
So you, a lot like me, I mean, yours is 2,000 then, but mine was 718 people. And we talk about hunting quite a bit.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And I'll take some more video of what you've got around, and I know, but I think others should know as well. Where did that come in then, in that time frame of your life growing up?
I spent a lot of time in the woods, actually more fishing than at hunting at that point.
Okay.
I didn't really start taking hunting seriously until about 8 years ago. A good friend of mine that's quite literally, and I'm not exaggerating, the most famous country music personality to ever come out of this region.
No kidding.
He was one of the founding members of the Wheat Fest and their main onstage host for its first 35 years.
I think I've been there.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
So we did our job.
I know that. I think I know I was there. I just don't remember.
So we became really good friends 20 years ago.
Okay.
And did a bunch of music stuff together.
That's kind of what I'll get into too, but I want to get the background too.
Yeah. He started connecting me with some of the entities, Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever.
Sure.
The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, things like that, and getting me interested in the conservation side, which I think is a really good place for people to start.
100%.
Understand the landscape, understand the habitats.
Why and
and
taking
really
care of it.
the reason why I say that is a little foreshadowing for you and the viewers.
Yeah.
Is if you learn that side of the conservation and land management and all that stuff up front, you have way more success in your hunting.
No kidding.
In my time that I've been hunting, we might say like trophy or wall mount percentage is way higher than the average.
Well, that's what I was saying. So and you'll get to see them. I'll make sure we cut that in and we'll show you. But that's what makes me so blown away by it.
Yeah, because my biggest one ever isn't even here right now.
Right,
it's a taxidermist.
You haven't sent it back yet.
No.
So that's what blows me away, because if you were to actually talk to somebody that's doing, you bring it back to that conservation piece, you would look and be like, you've been hunting for 20, 30 years.
No.
And that's crazy. But if you were to take that simple step, you can actually improve your hunt that much better.
So for me, it's sort of like a three-headed monster, the first of which is the conservation, understanding all the different things from habitat, food sources, like all the things that animals need when you get an interest in getting in the game.
Right.
The second piece, and probably the most important, is my guy, Tom, the aforementioned country music personality, because he's been hunting for 40 years. He's hunted everything all over the North American continent, all the way into Alaska and Canada and like all the things, and had a lot of success in his career. His trophy room is unbelievable. And so just being able to get connected with him and having him mentor me, he's introduced me to a bunch of people where I've gotten to hunt not just public land, but a lot of private land too, which helps. Yeah.
Nice. That does help.
Yep.
Especially because those people that have the private land know that conservation piece and are doing it for that piece. They live it, right?
Yep. Yeah, they live it.
So you do that, and then kind of the other thing too is what we also have in common is some of the stuff that you've done DJing and things like that.
Yeah.
Hog's Breath that came up quite a few times as we were building our relationship together. Yeah. So talk a little bit about before you got in real estate, what that looked like prior to that, after you. So here's the question. You know, a lot of people, if you went to college, great. I don't really foreshadow that. Mm-hmm. Your interest is more about what we're going for. Yeah. So tell me how you got into that piece and doing a lot of that country type stuff.
Well, a lot of these things shape who I am today as an agent. So I think this is all good.
It's very good stuff. That's the whole point. Yeah. Again, that's why we do the unscripted agents, because we want it to be completely clean and open book so that people will all know. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
While we're waiting. Yeah. And while we dive in, I'll dive in. This is Travelers, and forgive me if I'm incorrect. He will correct me, by the way, harshly. This is, I believe, done by Buffalo Trace Distillery. Yep. And it was made for Chris Stapleton.
That's right.
Wow.
Proud of you, bro.
I did the whiskey tasting and bourbon tasting at the Chris Stapleton concert in Ohio. And you haven't opened this. So the rule is usually you can have what you open. So just for you guys and me, he's allowing us to open this.
I don't know if you know this, but one of the dead giveaways, just to kind of back you up, you can show it to the camera, is his initials are on the cork.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there it is. Right there. That's great. Didn't know that, see?
And he has more songs than Tennessee Whiskey.
Right. So here's my point. This guy knows everything about this stuff. So I tried it, and it was probably 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Awful. And as you opened it, I said, hey, have you ever tried that? And it still had the plastic on it. You're like, well, no, let's try it.
Fresh crack.
So I'm going to let you try it first.
Okay.
Since it's yours. And he's a connoisseur, so you can see the difference in glasses of the connoisseur whiskey bourbon drinker to just pour it in a big old glass for me. And I've had this before, so I'm just going to get after it.
Yeah, definitely.
Caramel?
Yeah, super caramel.
Super caramel.
Super caramel.
Yep.
Very like traditional bourbon.
Yep.
Vanilla caramel.
And you know that who likes it because it's like that.
Right.
This guy.
Right. Well, the Glencairn's the way to go. I'm gonna get you there.
Am I?
Yeah, it's an evolution. I didn't start there.
No, that's true. That's true. Drum roll.
Wow.
Right?
That's outstanding.
Now, but 2-3 years of improving. Because if you would have tried that 3 years ago, you'd be like,
pour it out.
Yeah. Like the one I brought for your birthday.
I've only spit one whiskey out.
That was that one?
Yeah, my whole life.
Horrible?
That was it. No, I'm sorry, 2.
Okay.
I have a scotch over there that I cracked and had a little bit
Yeah.
because somebody told me it was amazing, and it was like literally like licking an ashtray. I just spit it out.
It was so
I'm like, I'm not even gonna swallow because I don't want that in my body.
Yeah, no, that was bad.
was
No,
horrible.
that was pretty bad. I can't remember what it was either, and it was expensive. And they're like, "You're gonna love it." And I'm like, "No, it's horrible." So, cheers! Thanks for joining
Cheers to
us
you. Thanks for having me.
episode 4.
Yeah, nice.
One of our most favorite guys around. He's an okay agent too, by the way.
All right.
Just kidding.
Sell a couple houses.
One of the best. All right, so now do you want
started in the music
you want
business.
me to fill that, or you want more?
Yeah, just at the middle of the bell.
Just the middle of the bell.
Thank
See,
you.
I would have known that either. I'd go up to here.
Yeah. Well, so do you know what the deal is? With
I
the
don't
Glencairn
know,
glass?
but I'm glad you're going to tell me.
Yeah, so the bell in the Glencairn is designed to put downward pressure on the alcohol, the isopropyl alcohol odor.
Okay.
And so like you'll see guys that have this, they'll swirl it kind of like I
Yeah,
did.
you did.
So what that's doing is it's disturbing like all the tannins that are in there that get developed in the barrel and driving those up and pushing the alcohol down. Like if you were to smell it right now, you'd probably get a mix of the alcohol smell and the aroma of the whiskey.
Sure.
But if you swish it around, you don't get any alcohol smell for a solid 10 seconds.
No kidding.
It's just the tannins. So that's why if you're smelling a whiskey, this kind of thing doesn't work because there's
No.
nothing to restrict it.
It's just really good to drink, though.
Yeah, for sure. So you do it this way, and then I'll let you smell it.
Oh yeah.
No alcohol.
Nothing.
Yep. It's so like it when you smell the
See,
alcohol, like burns your nose.
Okay, so that pops
No
away.
burn at all.
All right, so that pops away, and you can actually start smelling the barrel and different things that are in it, right?
Yeah, because there's no alcohol.
Right.
You're just smelling the tannins. Whatever was built up in the barrel, depending on the barrel that they put it in. I mean, most whiskeys.
By the way, just so you know, I call him anytime I got a bottle that I need to buy. So
I love doing it.
I don't know if we'll put his number out. I don't know if he wants that many phone calls.
Let's go.
Maybe you do.
Let's
you never
go.
know.
I love it.
Why not?
I love talking whiskey.
That's right.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
so we get to now that we got our proper country music whiskey glasses and whiskey drinks going. You
Yeah,
get
man.
into, we talked a little bit about DJing and the things that you did at the Hog's Breath. And I could get into all the stuff I did in Hog's Breath, but it's more about you.
bro, I was there. I know. So I started in the music business as a disc jockey in 1992, and then you fast forward over the course of obviously 3 decades plus.
Yeah.
I've done everything under the sun, from nightclubs, festivals, concerts, radio for a while, and a couple of different affiliates,
Sure.
and lots of connections in that world. A little TV for a while, like just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the thing that I found probably pretty early after about my first 8 or 10 years was I didn't find joy in the picking and playing music. I found joy in being on the mic, interacting with the crowd, plugging the specials and the staff and promoting different stuff. Like I loved that aspect.
Lifting people up.
Right. And
Yeah.
so I sort of parlayed that into just being a full-time MC. And so I
Okay.
was able to do things like benefits, which I always did free. I never charged for them. Galas. And then that kind of grew into bigger stuff, you know,
Yeah.
where you're doing more of the bars and nightclubs, but as an MC, or you're doing special events. You get hired to come in and MC a special event. And that turns into like concerts and promoting bands at concerts and things like that. And of course, the pinnacle for an MC is to either be on TV like a Ryan Seacrest,
Yeah.
or to do festivals, like big scale music events.
You
like
had a
that.
face for radio, though. So
I do. Hide me in a room and turn off the light. Flip that light off. Hide the women and children.
I heard people always say that too. We used to have a radio show on ESPN 1500.
Mm-hmm.
And the big joke was I had a face for radio. So my mom always thought I was going to do that too, be on the radio. And I'm like, I don't really know why, but never even got close to going down that road at all. So you're doing that. You're doing the deals. You're doing the country. What were they called at Hog's Breath when you were doing them? Like
Rowdy Cowboy Show.
Rowdy Cowboy Show.
It's still going now. I mean,
It is?
There isn't a lot of events. They probably do like
I
6
thought
or 8
they
a
shut it
year.
down. Didn't they get in trouble a little bit? Maybe.
Well, Hog's Breath. Okay, so yeah, there's a little story there. I
Yeah.
don't want to spend a lot of time because,
Yeah. No.
as you know, the
Yeah.
owners of the Hog's
Yeah.
Breath, the general
Yeah.
manager, those are all very close personal friends
Yeah.
of mine.
Very good people.
Yeah, amazing club. They were playing, we'll just say, not country music on the weekends.
That's right. That's what it was.
And so they were having some problems in there.
Challenges. Yeah.
So the city came in and said, we just need you to stop doing any music at all, including country, everything. Just no music.
Country music doesn't bring problems.
Yeah, well, so everybody knows that, well, everyone that was, would hire us
Sure.
either already knew or they knew by people telling them that this country crowd, our country audience, was
Yeah.
really good at policing themselves.
Yeah.
And so even if somebody was getting a little too many drinks
Be like,
or whatever,
yeah, settle down.
their friends would kind of like get them out.
Getting out, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like there's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I did that Rowdy Cowboy show for a decade.
I know. And it was
an
like
average
2 years ago was like one of the last ones that right? Roughly? Or a year ago?
Well, that was the last summer I did one.
Okay.
Just they asked me to come out as sort of like a special event kind of thing. But it's the Rowdy Cowboy show as an entity is still active.
Awesome.
And they're doing like 5, 6, 7, 8 events a year.
Nice.
By special request.
Nice.
I mean, that's all around the state. Like they've got some.
Oh, no kidding.
Up on Mille Lacs.
Okay.
They do events up there, which is super fun.
I have to tell my neighbor just bought a place. Well, a nice little slip on Mille Lacs and has his camper up there and stuff. So
shout out to Isle, Minnesota. They got a spot down or up there called Muni. And that's a great place to go and have drinks and like just be in a super cool small town atmosphere.
That's what we need.
And they will throw gigs and hire the Rowdy Cowboy Show folks. They'll come in and they'll throw on a big party.
Nice.
So my friends Travis and Danny will come in. They own the show now, and they come in and they do these special events like at what's the one at Maple Grove, the Tavern.
Sure.
Maple Tavern.
Sure.
And they'll go there. They'll do the Muni. They'll do Hog's Breath.
Let's get them down for like Panaprog.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Get some country fans.
Who do we
got
to know?
Right.
Who do we got to talk to?
Strings. Got to pull strings.
Yeah, I got a little bit thrown in. Okay, we got that now. Our real estate career.
But I'm mostly retired out of that.
Yeah, you're
like
not,
8 years ago. I'm just like I got to be done.
Yeah.
The wife and I started having kids.
But you're selling dirt. So
while that all was happening, I was working construction by day.
Okay.
So I was in residential.
I don't think I knew that. think I knew that.
So I would swing hammer by day and then do the music thing at night. Yeah.
How was that on the back and everything? All that hammer swinging and
not good.
No,
it's pretty hard in the body.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to, as you know, the late 2014, diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah. So here's the other thing. Yeah, I wanted to get into because I have. You'll see, like episode 2 is one of my heroes, Andy McBride, who ended up getting stung by a mosquito.
20 plus years you guys worked together. It says in the episode.
Yeah, and got stung by a mosquito and had to learn how to walk.
Got
swallow,
Lyme?
chew.
Was it Lyme?
No, he got West Nile.
Oh.
And the West Nile got into his bloodstream, into his your nerves have a little coating on the outside, right?
Why don't you?
You want to have a seat? Look at that. Hospitality. Bartender gets to sit on the job.
We got a few of these around.
I figured I didn't want to sit down because I might have to get you another one. So there's a casing, and I'm going to screw it up. I'm not a doctor, not a professional. I'm just going with what I was told. There's like a casing.
Are you a gynecologist?
No, I should be. I'll cut that one out. Yeah. And so there's a film that goes around your nerve, and whatever this happened started eating away at that film, and his nerves were exposed. So he literally was in Vegas, thought he was, just fluish, and they had to knock on the door, and if they hadn't got to him, he'd be dead.
Wow.
So he's now, so it has been told that he would never walk again, that he wouldn't probably survive it, that he'd never drive a car, all the things that they tell you, right? Well, if anybody knows Andy or anything about the McBrides, that don't work for him.
Mm-hmm.
Had to learn how to, I went to watch a Vikings game with him when he still had a trach, but he was able to talk and function, not move, but had to learn how to bite like a saltine cracker, things you take for granted. Like you can throw a cracker in your mouth and dissolve in like 10 seconds because you chew it so fast.
Right.
He couldn't put a dent in a saltine cracker.
Wow. And
now you couldn't tell. We go skiing in Vail every December.
Man, that's miraculous.
Yeah, it's, and by the way, if anybody ever gets a chance, look at Andy's stuff on my page and reach out to him. He's got a great story. And then it'll bring you to tears about, a lot of people talk about seeing lights, and we can talk about this, and everything's open on my show. We both love Jesus very much. And we're still human. We do things wrong all the time.
Of course.
But
bro, I'm a sinner.
He's got a great story of 3 doctors. I'll just give a little bit. 3 doctors that he was talking to the whole time he was out, unconscious. And he'll tell you a story like there was 3 doctors just standing there. And he goes, when he was able to come to, he couldn't remember their names, but he could remember what they looked like.
Mm-hmm.
So he started describing them to the nurses and stuff, and I might start tearing up. But all the nurses are like, no, there's nobody here that looks like that. There's not doctor this and that, and he had height and hair, and he goes, Aaron,
very vivid.
Aaron, he goes, this is the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
The whole time that I was out just talking to me.
That's amazing.
And that's like bring chills down to, so miracles do happen. And so I bring that back to, because not only once, you had it twice.
Yeah, they did.
So original, go through kind of how it
have a
came
surgery.
About. Yeah.
Well, so it's just like this weird, I don't know how much detail that we want to.
Well, I want to I don't want to skip over the important stuff, because there's a lot of people that might end up running into the same situation, and I want them to be able to understand where I came from. So
so I was
hot spot, what eventually made you go in and kind of get it looked at.
Yep. So we were, it was a tough time. Construction was a little slow. The music thing was actually booming, but I wasn't making as much money doing that as I was swinging the hammer, and hammer stuff was slow. So I was like, all right, I got to supplement the income somehow. So I actually got a gig working the dock at FedEx driving a forklift, like the third job.
Yeah.
That you do, you got to do.
That's man's work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Take care of your family, man.
And then November of 2014, started noticing as I was getting on and off that forklift that I was pretty discomforted in the groin area.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what's going on? Like, that's weird. Did I sleep funny or bump into something I wasn't paying attention? Like, you don't know.
Did you piss her off when she smashed you?
I mean, I'm a dude, so I'm dumb, right? Like, who knows? Like, these things happen.
I'll teach him.
Didn't even wake me up. So like ninja.
Shit, could happen.
Yeah, for sure. So went and saw my general practitioner, the GP. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
And he's like, oh, I think the first thing they do is they make you get an STD test.
Yeah, of course.
And they're like, well, do you and I'm like, no, for sure that's not the deal. No.
You're like, call my wife, see how this goes.
Yeah. So obviously that came back negative for the record. Let that go out. No, we're good. We're clean.
Yeah.
Clean.
Yeah.
And so then he's like, all right, well, I think it's, some kind of bacterial infection or whatever. So I'm going to give you an antibiotic.
Okay.
So I took the antibiotic for 3 weeks. And during that 3-week span, like the pain definitely went down a lot. Didn't go away completely, but went down a lot.
Yeah.
Literally the day after I finished the antibiotic cycle, it came right back. And so he's like, well, there's something else going on here. Let's have you see a urologist. So I go see a urologist and they're like, well, there's something going on, but we don't want to make a diagnosis without doing and you're going to get a kick out of this. Do a ultrasound, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, what does that look like? Well, you're going to come back, we'll schedule an appointment for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You'll come back and what they'll do is they'll use like a little handheld wand thing and they'll kind of scan your area there and see what we can see. I was like, all right, that sounds fine. So come back the next day.
I've had the same thing done, so.
Yeah.
Well, I know what you're talking about.
The most crazy, awkward, one of the most awkward things in my life.
It's always awkward anytime you're down south.
There's some details here.
Okay.
So I show up. It's the first time I've ever had it done. So I show up and like you walk into this like office setting, wall-to-wall carpet and paintings on the walls and the whole thing. And I'm like, am I here to get my taxes done? Like, well, we're going to have you go into this other room. And I go in there and it's, again, wall-to-wall carpet, except in one side of the room, there's like an actual like doctor's table with the pull-out paper and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like just
you're like, you thought you were at a veterinarian? Or?
Yeah. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what is this? I feel this is weird. Are there cameras? So
I'm getting punked right now.
So then I just like, I'm sitting there waiting for somebody to come in and I'm not kidding you, but maybe 22-year-old girl comes in and she was obviously... She's very attractive.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, this is way more awkward now.
Yeah, no, it gets really weird. Yeah.
Super weird.
Yeah.
Like, I'm married.
Yeah.
And she comes over and she was, to her credit, was very professional.
Very professional, yeah.
And she's just like, all right, I'm going to leave the room and I'm going to have you lower your garments.
Yeah.
And then she gives me this, what is it, the equivalent of a washcloth.
Yeah.
Just place this over your groin. And I'm like...
It's a gum wrapper?
Yeah. I'm like, it's... At that point, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like
that's like not going to cover anything.
Yeah. All right. Sweet. No matter what, it's going to be peekaboo time.
That's right. That's right.
So then I follow instructions and, she comes in and she's like talking to me normally and asking me about myself and my day and my job and just like obviously trying to make it less awkward for me, which is awesome. But it's still super awkward.
Yeah.
And, can you move the washcloth a little bit this way or that way? So she's working on stuff. And I'm like,
whatever you say.
Okay. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Right? I don't
so she's got the wand?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
got it.
Gets the gel. And luckily the gel was on like a little heat thing.
Yeah,
so
I don't want that.
Nah. Cold gel on your beanbag.
Yeah, no, not good. Not good.
So anyway, so she finishes the procedure and then gives me like, a handful of wet wipes.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Get that dealt with. I'm going to leave the room.
So obviously we know what happens then.
Yeah. So she's like, it's usually 48 hours or so before we get the results. And then the urologist or your GP will call.
Yeah.
Immediately the next morning, get a call from the general practitioner. And he's like, you need to go see the urologist again today and bring your wife.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's not good.
No.
So we go there and have the meeting with him. And he's like, yep, it's cancer.
Yeah.
We have to get you into surgery immediately.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's only one and it's not both.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go in, we're going to take the one out. And then, then you'll have a follow-up 60 days later after you heal from the surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. And then the whole conversation about, and this is where like the faith comes into it.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, so you back up a bit.
Yeah.
Building's slow. DJing is, still going, but not making the money. You got the third job. You're just like, pile it on. I mean,
yeah.
What else can you hit me with? Okay. Now you hit me with this.
Yeah. Thank God we had
and now you
good health benefits through FedEx.
Yeah.
Like they take care of their people there. Even though I was a part-time guy, I had 15, 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
They had me on the health benefits in it.
But that goes straight to the faith piece, right? You get that news and you're like, now this.
Well, and there's another layer there too.
Okay.
So when we're sitting there having this conversation, the urologist, who's clearly secular, no offense to him.
No.
Yeah, we're just on the same page.
Of course.
And he says, I would advise that you go to, the Spank Bank and make a donation.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we're Catholic. We don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Guys that go through this kind of thing, only 30% of them ever regain fertility. And if they do, it usually takes 5 years. And so if you guys want to have more kids, we had 2 at the time.
Yeah. How many do you have now, Shane?
We have 5. So this is where it gets interesting.
Boom.
So like, yeah, I appreciate the advice, and obviously we're hearing what you're saying. We're not discounting what you're saying about the statistics.
Yeah.
But we believe so strongly in our faith that if God wants us to have more kids, we will, and if He doesn't, then we won't, and we accept that.
Awesome. Yeah.
So like we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then there's the do you want a prosthetic conversation? My wife and I both laughed.
They're just kind of a waste.
Do you want a piece of titanium in there? I'm like, nope, no, hard pass. We're good. Yeah.
What's that noise? Oh, Shane's coming down the hall.
Yeah, lots of fun at the airport. The TSA.
Oh, God.
Yeah, yes, it's what you think it is. Stop wanding me in front of everyone.
You and Lance Armstrong.
Exactly. Yeah. With less testosterone.
He got his titanium.
Steroids.
Put his in titanium.
All right, so have the surgery and then 2 months recovery going for my follow-up.
Yeah.
And they did a CT scan and blood panel, and the cancer, apparently some of it escaped. Yeah. And it metastasized into a pea-sized tumor in my left lung.
Yeah.
So then they're stuck with this. Do we do another surgery or do we take a chemo regimen approach? And luckily, I got one of the best oncologists in the state. Guy's name is Vladimir Hujek, and he's at the Minnesota Oncology Maple Wood Cancer Center. He's not. He's Russian. He's Russian as all.
Come on, that's good.
All hell. Yeah. Yeah. No.
And
his name isn't Vang.
Yeah. Which is Norwegian, by the way. But it still could be. It can be either. We're good.
Yeah.
But you, okay, so you got the best in the state.
Yep. Puts me on basically this like crazy 3 consecutive rounds of chemo. So for the better part of 4 months, I was getting chemo infusions between 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. They give you the Saturday and Sunday so your body can recover, which it doesn't.
It doesn't.
So I couldn't get off the couch for almost 4 months. I was just like completely, other than the fact that I was breathing and I could speak.
Yeah.
There's no other discernible difference between being where I was and being dead.
Yeah. So food and things like that.
Horrible.
Yeah, horrible. Yeah. Because you get that tinny and all that stuff.
When they said any food that you actually like, don't eat it.
Why?
Because you'll get a psychological block to it if you eat it when you got all that stuff in your...
and you won't like it when you get off again.
Because your taste buds are all jacked up.
I would have never known that.
So like, don't eat any stuff you like.
See, that's...
Eat stuff that's bland already.
Right.
Because anything you eat is going to be bland anyway.
Yeah, potatoes.
So just pick stuff that's bland by nature, because anything you eat... you could eat the best burrito taco with hot sauce and you still won't taste it. So just eat bland stuff so you can get sustenance in.
Yeah.
So
they put you on protein shakes or anything like that now.
No.
What about your wife and her background? Was she able to help nutritionally with that?
That was the impetus for her to get her doctorate. Is that whole thing sent her to the moon.
Yeah.
Where she was like, I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Northwestern and I'm going to get my doctorate.
Nice.
So she went to Northwestern and got her doctorate, and all through that process, the only real difference between a DC and an MD is MDs go through the pharmacology piece so they can prescribe medication.
Yeah.
And for DCs, it's all naturopath. So they learn nutrition, supplements and nutritional science and homeopathic.
Which I prefer anyway.
Yeah. So M took that to like level 100 and traveled all over the country going to these conferences and doing trainings and like all this stuff to learn more and more about.
I forgot to take my vitamins.
Uh-oh. Your steroid? Can tell. The weight room.
That's right. It's over there.
Just learning all that stuff because she really wanted to take it seriously given what I'd gone through and trying to help my body recover.
Yeah.
So without her, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
And that brings and then not only that, a topic to strong marital and having somebody by your side is pretty crucial. So you can't
go through something like that without having truly a partner in life.
Right. So that gets done. You're at the end of your chemo. Then
So chemo, and then like a bunch of friends threw a benefit for me, which was so nice.
They didn't take your liver or your part of your lung out.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. And then basically from June 21st, 2015, which is when they declared me in remission. They have this whole plan of you come in so often to get blood drawn and do CTs, and like that stretches out over 5 years. And then once you get to your 5th year, then it's annual blood panel CT to get to your 7th year. And then at 7 years, if you've had no reoccurrences or anything on any of your labs or scans, then they declare you cured.
And
so I've been declared cured for 3 years. And my 10-year anniversary of remission is the 21st of this month.
Mark that on the calendar. That's for me, by the way.
Yeah. Mark that spot on the tape. Get the little...
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So thank you. So this is where things get
a big
good
deal
when it comes back to faith, because it's always comes back to God, right?
Yep.
And God showing his true power.
Sure.
All the stuff they said, go see the spank bank or you're never going to have kids again.
Yep.
Or it's 30% of guys are the only 30% ever regain fertility. All the stuff. 18 months later, we were pregnant again with our next son. So we went son, daughter.
Sure it didn't take 3 years? Come on.
18 months.
Yeah.
So, and this is where the kind of the humor comes into it, is after all of that, we went boy, boy, boy. So I'll let you figure out the formula there. Like, did they take the one that had
the one that had all the girls in it?
That's
apparently.
Right. That's right. Which I'm fine
and
with.
that's another thing that I think is great.
You're outnumbered, bro, in your house.
Oh, I'm outnumbered. Yeah, we won't even talk about that. I got both my testicles. I don't know what's going on over there.
Maybe you should give one up.
No, I'm done. Maybe I should. They can have them both. No, I'm done. I'll cut it off. We got her fused.
You be gelded?
Yeah, nothing's coming out of that.
Racehorse is all done.
All done, yeah. All done. So in the midst of that, you got that going on.
Yep.
Do you go back to construction, or when does what I call
shout out to
your real value kick in?
Shout out to the contractor that I was working for at that time. Two sides of the coin. First side is on college. They were like, "Hey, we need you back to work." I'd been a project manager the last few years leading up to the cancer thing. And
I'm gonna stand up again.
Yeah, you're good. And so they're like, "We need you back to work." And I was working 80 to 100 hours before I got sick.
Yeah.
And my oncologist is like, "There's no chance on this plan, and I'm letting you go back."
Way.
Yeah, your body's completely decimated. I was like green and emaciated and weak and tired, and
you look
to the point where he's like, "I don't even want you climbing a ladder because you'll fall off and get killed."
Yeah, you die.
And so he's like, "You could work maybe 20 hours a week as long as you do stuff that's really like light level work, but that's it." And the contractor's like, "We need somebody that can work your workload. We're busy. It's middle of the summer.
Yeah,
like we're getting our butts kicked. We need somebody."
Yeah.
So they laid me off.
Yeah.
So that part, you could say, well, that sucks because you got laid off. There's always silver linings in these things, right?
You just got to look for it.
Yeah, God's got his finger in all this stuff.
Yeah.
So the first thing is to their credit, Hoffman Weber Construction, Minnesota and Wisconsin, just a shout out to those guys. They paid my salary the whole time.
No shit.
The entire time. So for 5 months between surgery and the chemo and all
then definitely a shout out to them for sure.
They paid my every week. I was getting
they don't make
EFT.
companies or people like that anymore.
No, it just does not happen like that.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, so shout out to those guys for their love and patience and the whole thing with all that.
Yeah.
So then when I got laid off, in addition to working for them as a project manager, I was hosting their radio show on My Talk 107 on Sunday mornings. The show right after ours was a real estate agent. And we formed a friendship where she'd occasionally have us on her show to talk construction, and we'd have her on our show to talk real estate.
Sure.
She heard I got laid off. So she reached out to me and said, hey, here's the thing. At that point, I was like basically already made my mind I was leaving the music business.
Yeah.
Just didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
Wasn't not real healthy for my spiritual life, my family life,
It's
my
late
my
nights
marriage.
and late nights.
3 o'clock in the morning, surrounded by temptation.
Yeah, it's bad stuff.
This kind of thing doesn't help with that.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, this is the exact opposite.
We're safe here. I mean, I'll drink one of these and you might get cute, but that's as far as it's going to go.
Well, still face for radio. I'm going to have 3 and see how that goes.
You can have as many as you want. You've got more behind you.
I'll drink the bottle. No, we'll just keep going with this one. It's the Traveler's Whiskey Show.
That's great.
Actually.
Yeah. So she reaches out. She says, you know, a million people, you're outgoing, you're personable. You should definitely try real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I had thought about before. So she sells me on all the things we love about real estate, the schedule flexibility, you work as hard as you want to work. You know, if you only want to make 50 to 100 grand a year, then you don't have to work that much.
Yeah.
If you want to make more, you can make more.
Yeah. There's no ceiling to it.
Yeah. It's unlimited income potential.
Right.
You know, your first episode, Katie McBride.
First episode, Amber Steiner.
Amber Steiner.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, she's a rock star, right?
Yeah.
Crushes it.
Yeah. Kills it.
Yeah. So it's like you can decide how much you want to work, and then that's what you do.
Yeah. And shout out to her too, because she's a lot like you, the story of 2 kids on her own, still banging away, doing the things that she does, right?
That's what hit me with her episode when I watched it.
Yeah.
And
she's great.
She didn't see that as like a restriction or a barrier.
No, I think it becomes everyone that's on this show has something in common, and they've made themselves who they are. And that's why I have them on, is because I think people need to understand that even though you might see shiny things on the internet, and you might see somebody that looks
Taco videos.
Yeah, well, you can check it. You can plug it if you want.
Yeah, Tailgate Tacos.
Tailgate Tacos, that's what it is.
Come to my Facebook. My personal Facebook's under Shane Michael, because that was my stage name in the music business.
Shane Michael.
When I'd already built, an audience, it was pretty big on Facebook, so I wasn't going to switch it.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, so
they'll lose the handle if you change it.
Yeah, so it's like Shane Michael's my personal, which is where I do a majority of my posting, and we've got a series we started 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think he's going to have me on it, but he hasn't asked yet.
I am going to have you on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were just checking. And
We'll
it's
see if
not
we
going to
can-
be vegan tacos.
We'll
I
find
know
some
that.
Norwegian tacos.
I found out about these vegan things. I'm out on that deal.
Yeah.
But,
I can say I tried it.
But that's the reason that I kind of want to pull back the veil so everybody can understand that, don't 100%, and you can agree with me with this, 100% of everybody that looks for real estate or mortgage is looking online.
Yeah.
Real estate specifically, I'll keep it at that. Most of the people don't even know if they can afford it until they can find out. I mean, they fall in love with the house first, then they try and find out if they can afford it or not.
Yep.
But 100% of that it's crazy.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. But they end up out there, 100%
Pro
of
tip,
them.
stop doing that.
Yeah. If you can grab those people and put them in front of people like yourselves, the experience is only that much better.
Yeah.
And that's all we're going for when it comes to this
Agreed.
podcast. So
I love it, man. I love that you're doing it.
yeah, we got it. So you start there.
Yeah, so I started with the Remax affiliate, local Remax affiliate.
right.
I spent my first 7 years of my career there. Was with her for probably 8 months or so, and then we decided that the original plan was not going to work. The family comes.
Yeah,
by.
there they are. I love her. Your wife's sweatshirt. We might have to get a shot of that.
Didn't I tell you she was going to take it?
Yeah, you did.
When you gave it to me, I was like, I'm going to get to wear this once.
Yeah, I'm never going to see it. She goes, it's my favorite sweatshirt.
It is her favorite.
Yeah.
She loves it.
I got to get new ones.
It's a great color.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah, so...
that lasted only 8 months. Why?
Yeah, about 8 months.
You just you had bigger vision.
The way that they work their system over there, you can only do so much when you're like a new agent being mentored by someone.
Sure.
You're really restricted.
Right.
And unless I was willing to go out on my own, I was really handcuffed.
Okay.
And so
that's not your style.
No. And so for the first 8 months, we had this plan where we were going to work together every day and train and coach, and she was going to feed me some leads and stuff like that. And she just got really busy, both work and personally, and couldn't devote any time to me at all.
Yeah.
Instead of being together every day, we probably spent a total of 10 hours together in 8 months.
Inmates. Okay.
Yeah. So it was like,
that's tough. You're like, what do I do? Deep water, swim, got to swim.
So met with her and just said, hey, you got to let me out of my contract. You got to let me go solo.
Yeah.
At that point, we were literally at pennies in our checking account. We had nothing. Any severance I had from the construction company was gone.
Yeah.
Literally our savings was completely gone. we're at pennies in the checking account. I'm like, if I don't figure something out right now, I'm going to have to go back to driving a forklift or something else.
Yeah.
Like I can't keep doing this.
No, you got a family to take care of, obviously.
Yeah. And she was very apologetic about it.
Yeah.
And humble and like, I know it didn't go the way that we wanted it to go. Right. And I'm really sorry about that, but absolutely, I'll let you out, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so went on my own, stayed with Remax, went on my own, and it just kind of took off from there. Yeah. So I did like 7 transactions in my first 4 months on my own.
Personal influence, circle of influence. What kind of transactions do you think?
Yeah. So if you look at all my social channels, my website, all that stuff, all of it says by referral only. Yeah. I have closed this many deals that were paid leads.
Got it.
And that was from
that you paid for.
No, I didn't pay for it. The team I was with.
The team with
last year.
Did you want me to top you off?
Sure. Yeah,
you gotta go different.
No, that's great.
I'm glad I picked one that you liked.
Yeah, it's really good. This is like absolutely iconic bourbon flavor.
Yeah, right. Straight. And the finish is smooth and nice and easy.
Very smooth.
Yeah. All right. Remax 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years at Remax.
And transaction. First year you do 7 deals.
7, and then over the course of the first like 2 or 3, I was already in the 20s, and then consistently 30 plus.
Now you're just crazy.
Yeah, trying to be
burning through them.
Yeah, trying to be. So over that time, and another friend of mine that Blake Suddeth. Yep. Also in the music business, and we had been friends for years.
Christian metal.
Screaming
metal.
Yeah, right. Your memorial. It's wild, right?
I know. When I first met him, I said, "How do you train your voice to do that?" He just said, "It's like a muscle, like anything else."
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
So he left a Remax affiliate, went to an independent brokerage for a short period of time.
I'm very familiar with it.
Yep. And that whole brokerage went to EXP.
Yep.
And so I'm watching the stuff that he and his partners were doing.
Yep.
And I was very interested. Like, hey, what is the deal with this? Because Remax, the franchise I was with, very traditional broker model.
Still are.
Yeah. Water cooler.
Yeah.
You pass agents in the hall and you say hi, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That they talk about
not a lot of sharing of ideas, and
they talk about collaboration, and there's occasionally some meetings where people get in a room and they talk, but the follow through is non-existent.
Yeah.
That was my experience.
Yeah, but that's fine. And there's places for people that want those brokers, and then there's places for people that want the EXPs or the Reels or the whatever's out there that's coming.
The technology and the AI and the things that are driving business. And I guarantee you, as I sit here today, episode 4, if you're not involved in AI or some kind of consumer, you've got to get digital or you're dead.
I mean, the simple fact is, how I do business is, 40+% of it is consumer direct. I grab the eyeballs before they even have a real estate agent. But
you're so good at like stories and reels,
and pair them with these types of people, so that they can have the experience that they should have had, like back when you got the real estate agent first.
Yeah,
because you had that, you developed a relationship, and then your family used them, and your pastor used them, and everybody used them. Well, it doesn't work that way anymore. It's literally online. They love it. It's fashionable. It's what they like. And they'll click somebody's head down at the bottom and have a terrible experience. So that's why the Unscripted agent was developed, so that they can understand that you still have those passionate people. We'll grab those eyeballs, but put you in front of people that'll be your realtor or financial planner or whoever it may be for life.
Was that the other ran by?
Yeah, oh yeah.
2-year-old?
They're all heavy metal right across the floor.
I love it. Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do.
I know you agree with me, man, that this is not a house business, it's a people business.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, you're buying the dirt, but getting there is the whole idea. Did you want to show your sweatshirt to the camera?
Yeah, come on over.
Here's the famous sweatshirt we were talking about.
Infamous.
It's your infamous. Then he never got to wear it again, did he? You stole it from him. Atta girl.
What can I say?
Atta girl. We love you.
It's nice.
It is. It's so soft.
Up top.
High
five. You're unfortunately extremely adorable.
Yeah.
And good thing you look like your mom.
No doubt.
God.
Give the guy half a chance.
It's all right.
Yeah. No,
She loves you. I know.
I am not in denial.
That's right. No, good. You came to grips with it.
Yeah, it's not just a river in Africa.
But that's the whole idea behind this podcast and YouTube channel, is to get it out there and show people.
It's a people business.
Yeah.
So that's how I built my career, always by referral. So every deal close to 300 transactions I've closed in my career now, and in a decade, and every single one of them has been, with exception of the one,
Yeah.
has all been people I know or the
Yeah.
people that they know.
Yep.
You know, that
Yeah, and
interact.
that's exactly, we want to, and that's why we dive in. We want to show the insides and because that's where it's all going. Get your information out in front of as many people as we can so that they can understand who they're working with before they even actually work with them.
Yeah.
And I don't have, like I said, there isn't any problem. I've never had any problem going, here, I know it's done. I don't have to worry about it because I know what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate you joining the show.
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers indeed. Drink whatever you're drinking in your hand right now.
That's right. There we go. So explain to me, you don't even have to turn around, but explain to me what we're looking at here. I know, but
that's a North American antelope.
Okay. And we got 2 of those.
Yeah. 2, what you would say are rare specimen North American antelope.
And hunting for how long again?
Like 8 years.
And this is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Whitetail.
That's a big one.
Like I said, my biggest one.
Where's that going to be going?
I'm going to move this other antelope so I have them both on this side.
Okay.
And put that whitetail I shot last year
Right
over
here
here when I get him back. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. And then we've got more antelope and whitetail on the other wall. I've got a big turkey mount coming, and I'm progressively hanging more and more of my stuff in the room as I can find space. But so train's moving along, all that kind of thing, and I get introduced to this goofy dude.
Yeah. Me.
Yeah.
Right.
Banger. Yeah.
What was that? It was the Unbreakable event.
Unbreakable event.
That was a good event.
It was a great event.
Yeah.
That Minnesota Vikings Omni Hotel.
That's a great place.
So
to have
nice.
It. Great place to have it. So we originally, that was actually the first time too, because we had met. You came up to me and you're like, "Hey, we, blah blah blah," and I said, and I was drinking. I think because they had an open bar at the end.
They did.
And I was drinking, probably nothing great. Maybe
martinis.
No. Shirley Temples. No, what was it? Because we had the whiskey conversation right then and there.
We did, yeah.
And I think it was.
They didn't have a great selection.
No, what's the big one with the wax?
Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark. Thank you. That's what they had.
Maker's Mark. I got a few of those.
Yeah, you do.
It's a good one.
6, 7, just a few.
Very traditional bourbon flavors.
Right. Yeah, and I think I like, if I'm having my good old fashions, I'm talking now I love Wisconsin, but I don't like a Wisconsin-based old fashioned.
No.
I don't like bubbles and fake cherry juice in my old fashioned, right?
Yeah,
but you can make it
with the grenadine gun.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
They but I like them. I like Makers in a good old fashioned. I don't know if I'd drink Makers on the rocks, but maybe. Would I?
For sure.
Would I?
Yeah.
You would know.
I mean, not the regular one, the one's on the far left, you'd be all right with.
This one here.
Yeah.
That's the one everybody drinks, right?
Yeah. Not the other ones. Those are all cellar and barrel
There's
proof.
these are all your burn ones.
Yeah.
They go. The ones you like. I know you like it. I don't understand. I don't understand. So yeah, we do that, and then
started working together.
I had because you had heard that how I did my consumer direct work.
Yep.
And I had the opportunity to speak in front of, I don't know, what were there, 75 agents there? 100?
At that one?
Yeah.
300.
Okay. I'm off a little bit. But I had an opportunity to tell and explain how, we kind of 180ing the business, and I'd been doing it for 24 years, and you guys are just handing us things and we're supposed to do a great job and there's got to be more to it. And you're like, well, I got to hear more about this.
Yeah.
And I specifically remember, I said, you know what? Let's get together. I think that was the funniest part because you said, let's go up to, was it Immer Grove Heights? No, way up north.
Maple Grove.
So I'm thinking.
Breaking bourbon.
I'm like, wow, you must live up there.
Nope.
We live both live in Lakeville.
Like 5 seconds from each other.
So we both drive up to Maple Grove.
Separately. Because we're idiots.
For our first meeting. And I'm like, and soon as one of the biggest things that I hit it off is that we ordered lunch and we prayed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, he's in. Got it. Solid. And then I said, you know what? Just let me prove it to you. And I didn't wait for you to give me business or nothing. I'm like, here you go. First, I think it was a VA buyer, right?
Yep.
And then, and ever since, again, goes back to why I had you on the shows, so other people can see what I see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as we continue to do so, and you continue to grow your team and grow the people that you know, we want to infuse those same beliefs. And you know that you won't work with anybody that doesn't have those same characteristics. You know what I mean?
That kind of ties back to what I was saying earlier in the episode. Is just like people know when they hire me that they're getting what they get. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not going
Your
out
word
there with,
is your word.
I'm not going out there with pretenses. I'm not like trying to be something I'm not on social media just to get more eyeballs or get more clicks. I'm not a clickbait guy.
No, and that's exactly me neither. And the most
This
of
is
the
why
stuff
we connect.
Yeah, the most of the stuff you can see is everything I do on a daily basis. Or I post, about men's mental health month.
Yeah, which I love, by the way.
Yeah, and and I think we all struggle with a little bit about that. And
For sure.
And it's like I said, if you don't, I think you're lying to yourself, and that's okay. Just be honest with yourself. There's people out there that'll help you with that type of stuff. But
yeah, especially for this month. I mean, the main organization that tracks all the stuff that's related to suicide.
Yeah.
Said that the two most common words used in suicide notes from men in particular are worthless and useless.
Worthless and useless, because that's how we feel.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's something about it that we can't get enough praise, or we can't get enough. It's just whatever it is. But like I said, one thing that I struggled with was having higher expectations of people than they even have of themselves.
Yeah, I love that you said that, by the way.
And you really can't do that.
No.
You can set your expectations, and that goes right back to what we're talking about in this program. Is a lot of these people are dealing with cancer and almost dying from West Nile, and 2 kids, single mom, and they've created their own way to do things. And I think if you create a high expectation of yourself, then everything will fall in place.
Amen to that.
Right? So that's why we continue to move this, have people like yourself on the show, and continue like for the next, hopefully, decades. You know what I mean?
I'll come back.
We'll be doing the same thing.
One more cheers, bro.
One more cheers. He's out.
Thanks for having me.
He didn't want to do anymore. Oh, look at that.
Give my last little 1/8 of an ounce.
Thanks, brother.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.
Thanks for joining us.
Woo!